So, you'd like me to recap almost 10 years of Peaky Blinders? All right, sure. Why the hell not? The series begins shortly after World War I on the dark, foreboding back streets of Birmingham. At first glance, it's frankly quite dirty, debauched, and seemingly a lawless place, except for the fact it's unofficially governed by the Shelby family.
I'm telling you.
A local criminal gang who are calling all the shots and firing them too. The Shelbys have an unspoken reign of respect and can stun a whole road into silence just by walking down it. That's partly because of their scary flat caps. Don't look too close. They make blindingly good weapons. Now, a quick family tree of the Shelby siblings. There's the oldest, but not the sharpest, Arthur Shelby.
Hello, love.
Followed by Tommy. We'll come back to him in a moment. There's Ada, John, and finally, Pipsqueak Finn. And let's not forget the modest matriarch Aunt Polly. They're all important figures, but Tommy is the feared and somewhat revered mastermind behind the family business.
You want me to write this down?
He's a smart and complex leader and a decorated war hero whose fighting skills extend far beyond the battlefield. In fact, these days, Tommy's business aspirations are as high as his impressive cheekbones, which is why he's placed his bets on a better life by turning the Shelby family home into an illegal bookmakers where they fix the races. Now, hold your horses, folks. Here come the broad strokes.
By order of the Peaky Blinders.
In Series 1, the Shelby family accidentally steals some important guns. But then Winston Churchill sends out his own big guns to find them, in the form of ruthless Inspector Campbell and undercover agent, cum barmaid, Grace, who can pacify even the rowdiest of regulars by singing some sad songs. And it's not just the boozers who are woozy with admiration, oh no. Both Tommy and Inspector Campbell fall head over heels for Grace.
I'll break your heart.
Already broken.
Tommy takes her to the races, makes her his secretary, and inadvertently gives her access to loads of juicy intel.
What does that mean?
Campbell goes all mean and threatening about the guns and gets Arthur beaten up until Tommy makes an ultimatum about potentially returning them.
I will let you know where to find the guns. You'll be a hero.
Now, Tommy's sister Ada falls pregnant with communist Freddie Thorne, which is complicated because no one seems to like the communists, but they get married, and it's kind of okay. Meanwhile, the Peaky Blinders have fallen out with a rival Romany group called the Lees, all because they laughed at them.
Is there any man here named Shelby?
Tommy convinces Billy Kimber, who runs most of the racetracks, to join forces against the Lees. But then Tommy calls a truce with the Lees by making his brother John marry one of their members called Esme.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
The families unite against Billy Kimber, and there's a lot of backstabbing, and front stabbing for that matter. Realising she's a smitten kitten with the top dog Tommy, Grace gives up the gun location to Inspector Campbell, along with her resignation, and rejects his awkward marriage proposal.
You deserve better.
Is it him?
Instead, she and Tommy finally, connect. And Aunt Polly gives Grace a talking to about being a spy. Billy Kimber's lot arrive in Small Heath, by surprise, and want blood. But Ada jumps in front of the rivals and stops them. Kind of. Billy kills a Peaky boy called Danny, and Tommy kills Billy.
Enough!
So it's almost peaceful. The Peaky Blinders acquire a license, making their business legit. And Tommy discovers Grace is a spy. But he loves her anyway. She tries to convince him to run away with her, and he flips a coin. Then jealous old Campbell confronts Grace at a railway station with a gun, and a shot gets fired. But by who? Which leads us onto Series 2. And Inspector Campbell has had a fall from Grace because she's the one who shot him. He survives, however, and walks with a menacing wolf head cane. Ada's husband, Freddie Thorne, has died of pestilence, and she's moved to London with her kid Carl, as in, you guessed it, Marks. Tommy is begrudgingly hired by the IRA to assassinate someone, which he does. The Shelbys decide to expand their bookie business, and the Peaky boys go on a violent frenzy to Italian gangster Darby Sabini's club in London. Sabini's men beat Tommy in retaliation till he's almost a goner, but then Campbell saves him to make him work for Churchill instead.
Are you not going to thank me for saving your life?
Polly visits a phony medium to find out about her lost kids, who were stolen by the police. Tommy hears about this and tracks down her son Michael, but he's too young to leave home.
I'm looking for someone called Elizabeth Gray.
Michael turns up in Small Heath anyway, and he's not totally embarrassed by his mum, which she's super relieved about. Arthur's war flashbacks cause him to lose control in the boxing ring, and he accidentally kills a teenager. He feels so bad, he starts playing in the snow. And I'm not talking about the weather. Tommy meets gruff-voiced gangster Alfie Solomons, who makes a legal run, but you have to call it bread or you get in trouble.
That is your plan.
We join forces.
And Tommy convinces him to go against Sabini. At an auction, Tommy meets horse trainer May Carleton. She loves taming wild beasts, including Tommy.
So will you consider me?
Who will consider you?
But Tommy's still hung up on Grace, who he keeps phantom calling. When Grace comes back from America with her husband, Tommy's heartbroken. But then they reconnect. Solomons changes his mind about the Shelbys and teams up with Sabini to kill some Peaky Blinders and get Arthur arrested. Skulking Campbell gets Michael arrested too and makes Aunt Polly debase herself for her son's release.
I'm talking about a simple transaction here.
Then it all culminates in Derby Day, where Tommy's men burn Sabini's bookie licenses and steal their bets. Grace reveals she's carrying a baby blinder. Campbell receives a fatal blow on the blower. And Tommy is kidnapped and almost killed in a field.
And the Blackwood went.
But Churchill's not quite done with him yet. You still with me? Series 3 kicks off with an exchanging of rings and a vow that there'll be no more guns in Tommy's posh new house. Except that very night, a Russian wedding crasher provides an incorrect code name for a money transfer and, well, vows are made to be broken. Archduke Romanov thanks Tommy for killing the imposter with a big fat and possibly cursed sapphire.
This is already for the killing of the spy and the down payment on future services.
And they make a business deal, which Father Hughes muscles in on. And that's bad news, because he's horrible to children, including Michael when he was young.
Be sure to check under your little boy's pillow.
And is part of a far-right group called the Economic League, who do what they like. Tommy's secretary Lizzie, who he rescued from prostitution, is now in love with Angel Trangreta, and the Peaky lot don't like that, so they beat him up. Then, this assassin turns up at a fancy charity do where Grace is wearing that possibly cursed necklace, and they shoot her dead. The Shelby brothers capture the main Trangreta and let his wife go because she taught him maths. Heartbroken, Tommy agonises about which brutal way to kill the bloke, but has decision paralysis. So Arthur just shoots him instead. Anyway, Tommy spirals through grief, does some stuff with the Archduke's niece, and Tommy wants to kill Father Hughes, except he's discovered that Tommy is planning a big heist with Alfie Solomons to steal jewels from the Russians. Which is fair enough, because they were going to fool Tommy, give him fakes and have him killed anyway.
Good man.
Father Hughes steals Tommy's son Charlie, blackmailing him to blow up a train and give him the jewels. But vengeful Michael rescues Charlie, and Father Hughes meets his maker. Meanwhile, Tommy's boys dig a big tunnel, nab the jewels, and reluctantly blow up the train. The Duchess double-crosses her Russian family and pays Tommy for the precious swag, and Tommy hands out the cash to the Shelbys before they all get arrested. Oh, actually, not all of them. Tommy goes free, which the others are pretty livid about because in Series 4, they're walked to the noose. But at that last second, Tommy strikes a deal to save their lives. Some of them are at the end of their rope with Tommy anyway, and decide to go off their separate ways. Arthur and John's families move to the middle of nowhere and get chickens, but trouble still finds them in the form of hate mail from mobster Luca Trangreta, who wants to avenge his father's death.
And what's the purpose of your visit?
Pleasure.
Luca's lot manages to kill John and injure Michael, which forces the Shelbys back together. They hire hitman Aberama Gold to help them in exchange for taking on his son Bonnie, who's a talented boxer. Speaking of heavy hitters, communist activist Jesse Eden convinces Tommy's entire factory workers to go on strike, and Aunt Polly makes a deal with Luca Trangreta to save Michael's life in exchange for Tommy.
You take Tommy, spare the rest.
There's a cat-and-mouse chase on the streets of Birmingham, and then Tommy's lured to a meeting. It turns into another bloody battle where Tommy and Luca go head-to-head, but the police intervene. Thing is, Tommy was prepared because he was actually in on the ruse with Aunt Polly all along. Lizzie reveals she's pregnant.
Yes, it can only be yours.
Polly has a magical moment in the woods with Aberama Gold, and Luca goes to Alfie Solomons and presents a plan.
Yeah, Tommy Shelby was right about you, wasn't he?
Cut to a massive boxing match with that kid Bonnie, where Arthur smells something fishy and follows some men who kill him.
My brother is dead!
At his funeral, the Changretta widow proposes a truce in return for the Shelby family fortune. They agree. And when Luca comes to take possession, Tommy reveals he's done a deal with a Brooklyn family and Al Capone, and they're going to take the Changrettas down. Then in barrels Arthur, yes, actual Arthur, not a ghost, because you see, they were only pretending he was dead. He shoots Luca, and the feud is as good as over. Tail between his legs, like quite literally, he's got a dog. Alfie Solomons reveals he has cancer and implores Tommy to just get on with it and kill him for his betrayal. Then Tommy goes on holiday, which is a terrible idea because he doesn't know how to chill. Instead, he uses some intel about communists as leverage to become the MP for Birmingham South. Finally, in Series 5, the Peaky Blinders, shall we say, introduced themselves to the Angels of Retribution because they said they'd never heard of them.
Now you've heard of us.
Finn joins in the brawl, despite being told not to, and he gets shot, but he's fine. Tommy gives speeches in Parliament, and they're not half bad, and Ada is his new political advisor.
Who's going to take the throne, eh?
However, business isn't quite as booming as Tommy's voice. Wall Street has crashed and the Shelby enterprise in America is in dire straits, having been mismanaged by Michael, who's got his nose in other business. Michael returns to Birmingham with his new lover Gina and is greeted by a furious Tommy who's become wary of him.
I want you to pay me back what you owe me.
Arthur's principled and despairing wife Linda finally runs out of patience and leaves him, making a nice new man friend who Arthur then disfigures. Tommy gets ambushed by a trap in his own backyard, set by a Scottish gang called the Billy Boys.
These gentlemen are the Billy Boys.
Who then murder Aberama's son and put him on a cross. Aberama's ready to crucify the head of the gang, Jimmy McCavan, in return, but Tommy delays him, offering Polly's hand in marriage as a sweetener. The thing is, this questionable MP called Oswald Mosley has coerced Tommy into joining his new venture called the British Union of Fascists. And Tommy's going along with it, but only so he can infiltrate the party and destroy it. Tommy calls a truce with Jimmy McCavan because he's connected to Mosley, and he involves him in an opium deal.
It is the purest opium that has ever arrived in Europe.
Speaking of opium, Tommy's having all these hallucinations about Grace, his deceased wife, and he's sort of unraveling and convinced he's going to get betrayed. On Lizzie's birthday, there's a production of Swan Lake in a tent, which Mosley attends. And just as the Swan is about to snuff it, Linda swoops in to shoot an anguished Arthur for blinding her man-friend. But Polly shoots her instead. Then they save her on a table. Tommy tries to deliver information about Mosley to Army Intelligence Officer Ben Younger, but Section D blown up. Which is a shame, because he was Ada's baby daddy. Anyway, Michael proposes a restructuring where he overthrows King Tommy, and obviously Tommy doesn't go for it.
At least read it with an open mind.
But Michael's determined to forge a new path, come what may, causing his mum Polly to resign from the business. And remember Alfie Solomons? Polly's not dead after all. He's just watching boats in Margate and begrudgingly agrees to help Tommy assassinate Mosley at a rally.
All right.
But everything backfires, meaning the rally's a roaring success for Mosley and a bloodbath for Aberama and the Peaky Blinders. Things are finally caught up with tormented Tommy, who's running in a misty field, screaming with a gun to his head. But will he pull the trigger? Oh, you're going to find out in Series 6, which starts with a bang.